A family gathers around a table, only to share a piece of bread. This is their entire dinner for today. The Foreman family lives in poverty on 5th Street. The next day at lunchtime, classmates are enjoying their meals while Foreman sits alone. Noticing his situation, nearby male classmates mock him openly and even throw bread at him. Insulting him, an angry boy rushes forward, knocking him to the ground, then quickly flees the school. Growing up, Foreman resorts to robbery to survive. When encountering police, he covers himself in mud to evade capture. Alone, covered in mud, he walks the streets. Advertisements catch his eye as he walks, so he bids farewell to his mother and joins a job corps. His new shoes, a gift from his mother, are stolen, fueling his rage as he chases the thief. Administrator Doyle intervenes and decides to send Foreman away. On the ride, Foreman pleads desperately with Doyle. Finally, Doyle relents, opting to teach him boxing, altering his fate. Foreman gets his first chance in the ring but doesn't perform well. His opponent moves agilely, eluding his attacks, making it hard for Foreman to use his strength. Eventually, catching Foreman off guard, his opponent lands a punch, knocking him down. Foreman angrily claims it was just luck, but Doyle patiently advises him to observe others' strengths. In the following days, Foreman undergoes extensive training. When he steps back into the ring, he no longer blindly pursues his opponent but instead times his strikes. Soon, in the same venue, against the same opponent, Foreman stands tall. Over a year, Foreman trains relentlessly, achieving victories. He earns a spot in the World Championship, despite skepticism and formidable opponents. But in the arena, he unleashes powerful blows, ultimately winning decisively. Thus, he becomes a renowned figure. With fame comes a flood of women, but Foreman declines their advances, instead bringing his family to a mansion. Foreman travels to Congo for a match, where he becomes the crowd's favorite. The underestimated now becomes his adversary. Upon arrival at the hotel, he witnesses his opponent, Ali, openly defaming his background in the media. Foreman approaches, seething, but ultimately chooses to leave without a word. On the battlefield, for the first 6 rounds, Foreman pushes Ali against the ropes, but Ali continues to taunt him recklessly. As Foreman's stamina wanes, Ali seizes the opportunity in the 7th round, landing a counter punch, knocking Foreman down. The countdown ends, and Foreman cannot rise, losing the match weakly. Foreman participates in an exhibition match, aiming to knock out 5 opponents. Despite his coach's attempts to dissuade him, Foreman persists. Ali also appears at the scene. After defeating the first opponent, coaches from both sides clash, causing chaos. Foreman proposes another challenge to Ali but is denied. In the locker room, men receive news from the hospital. Foreman's sister faced childbirth complications. Despite his lack of faith, Foreman prays earnestly. Miraculously, his sister and her child both survive. Foreman suddenly collapses in the locker room. In a haze, he recalls the vow he made for his sister's well-being. Upon waking, he embraces Christianity and vows never to fight again. He first seeks out Ali, apologizing for their past animosity. Then, he approaches his ex-wife, expressing regret for his past behavior towards her. 7 years swiftly pass. One day, an old man and a boy in the church express interest in learning boxing from him. Despite the churchman's objections, Foreman declines. Back home, he sees news about the boy on TV. He's now a shooting suspect. Foreman regrets not agreeing to help him and resolves to do something for the youth. He establishes a youth center on 5th Street. One day, the center experiences a sudden power outage, revealing long-standing utility debts. Foreman investigates his finances, discovering that the manager, Deese, has squandered his money. Foreman confronts Deese at a bar, who tearfully apologizes. Foreman ultimately forgives him, but the youth center is forced to close. Back home, Foreman retrieves his boxing gear and begins training again. When questioned by his wife, Joanne, he explains his need to box for money. He seeks out Doyle, the man who introduced him to boxing, who was still training newcomers. Foreman shares his decision with Doyle, who suggests he needs to lose weight. After a decade apart, this duo returns to the ring. Their comeback match garners attention, with Foreman's punches still powerful but now tempered with concern for his opponents. With sheer strength, he easily wins. Remembering God's help, he sets his sights on the World Championship. The World Championship arrives, with people glued to their TVs. Foreman's opponent is the young Moore. The match doesn't start well for Foreman, but during halftime, Memories of his journey flood his mind. Upon resuming, his heavy right punch knocks Moore down. The crowd erupts, as this man who had been away for over a decade once again becomes a world-class champion.